Hi, my name's Gill, and this is Mindful Arts, the home of mindfulness, meditation and art therapy in Letchworthgardencity. I had a studio at Digswell Arts Trust. That was the first location where myself and another art therapist started offering private art psychotherapy in groups and for individuals. And we were only allowed to be there for 3 years because it was to give people a springboard, a start. And after 3 years had passed, my colleague had retired and I came here by myself and continued my practice. So art therapy is a way to express your thoughts and feelings using the art materials, and that could be chalks, pastels, paint, drawing materials, clay. We could use soft objects like teddy bears and puppets, or we could use hard objects in the sand tray. We could use picture cards to tell stories. So it's an indirect way of expressing what's going on, and this may be conscious or unconscious, using the materials that we have here and using the relationship between the client and the therapist. So the client is encouraged to put something of their internal world out there on the paper or in the object so that we can look at it together and think about it, making sense of their world and validating their experience. And then finding more useful ways to move forward with the situation once it's been able to be seen really clearly. The image that clients make, they may have no plan in their head when they begin to make this image. They may start with something, and in a sort of going with the flow motion, something may emerge and may evolve. And when it starts to look a bit like something, or something suggests itself, clients may then make it more into what it looks like, and other associations and ideas might come to their mind. And so that without a plan, an image emerges. And then when we look at that image and think about it, often we use metaphor to stand for elements of the person. So they could be elements of the person's psyche, so different parts of the person could be represented by different parts of the image, different characters maybe. Or it could be that people in the person's network, their family, the people around them, significant people, may be there being represented by a tree or a dog or something else, a bench, whatever it is. Or it might be that this is a situation or a dilemma that they're currently facing or wrestling with. So we use the image indirectly to explore what the meaning is for the client. So it's not about interpreting the image, it's about getting the client to be curious and to discover what elements are there that are meaningful to them, that are important or significant, that resonate with them. And then just to think about, why is this coming up for me now, today? It's not somewhere to draw beautiful pictures. It isn't about making wonderful works of art and putting them on the wall and looking at them. Art therapy pictures get put in a folder which is confidential and is locked away and is only seen by the client and the therapist. You don't have to have any skill in art at all to do art therapy, because it's not about what it looks like, it's about the process of making it and what it's communicating. So sessions are for adults weekly. Clients come in and they have an assessment session to start with, which is like a one-off single session trial to see if it suits their needs. We do some art making, but we also talk about the difficulty, the problems as they're presenting themselves in the present, the family system, take a background and a history of what went before and make a formulation of what's going on for the client, and then use the art materials to express something of that. At the end of the session, we agree together whether we want to go forward and have further sessions or whether one is enough and this isn't the approach for the person. It isn't a drop-in, so they can't just decide to come as and when. They will come weekly for a set of time. It may be 6 weeks, it may be 12 weeks, and there may be a review in between. So we have a soft area with rubber mats and cushions and blankets if people want to meditate or sit on the floor or even lie down. And we have the table with all the art materials on. We have a clay trough we can use as well, the sand tray, paints, paper. People can move around. So, sometimes do authentic movement here. People can do things like yoga stretches or moving in an authentic way, meditating, laying down, sitting on the floor, sitting up at the table, standing up and using the wall to draw or paint if necessary. So it's very much led by the client as to where they feel more comfortable. When we practice mindfulness together, we may direct our attention to the breath or the body sensations or emotions or thoughts, but the way we do this is with objectivity and distance. So you're examining yourself and your internal world as if you were a scientist in a laboratory with great curiosity and interest to discover what exactly is going on inside your body. And you may notice strong, intense emotions or resistance or stuckness or some sort of difficulty somewhere. And if you do, you're encouraged to direct your attention and your breath to this place on the in-breath and then breathe from this place on the out-breath, letting go and releasing some of this intense sensation or difficulty as you do so, and just noticing what happens, learning that it's up to you where you direct your attention, and you can deliberately direct your attention into the intensity or to somewhere else. I started working with mandalas, and I've drawn out lots of mandalas and painted them initially using pens and ink and colour pencils. Then I moved into using watercolour paints, and I was playing with the idea of the solid structure of the mandala, the symmetrical pattern within a circle, and the fluidity of the watercolours, and how to capture something fluid and flowing within some rigid structure. And I was playing with that dynamic. And then I moved on to doing that on canvas using inks and became much more free-flowing. And I enjoyed the freer interpretation of the mandala idea. It fits in with my dilemma about order versus chaos and about how much structure, boundaries or holding is needed and how much free flow can be allowed, and striking the balance between those two things. With 3 psychology colleagues, we're hoping to set up a wellness centre that will be a therapeutic community, which will be a psychosocial model. It will have mindfulness meditation, it'll have art therapy, but it'll also have psychology, talking therapies, 5 rhythm stance, gardening, growing vegetables, coffee and chat. And we'll have open art studios. So there'll be an art studio set up for people to just come in and use independently and then head off when they're done, as and when they need to, but they would have to book the session. We're looking to get a nice premises like an old farmhouse with some grounds where we can plant some vegetables and get people outside growing. We hope to have a studio that's going to be big enough to have yoga going on in it, to just create somewhere where people can come and feel that sense of connection while being supported with others.